Quantum Big with Steve Bartylla. Brought to you by
dominance plays a role in so ridiculously much stuff when it comes to the whitetail world. It occurs within family units, which is often ignored, and it certainly occurs within the buck community. Okay, so what actually is dominance and how does it play out? Well, dominance is exactly what it sounds like. If I'm the dominant buck in the woods, if I'm the man, that means as far as the deer world's concerned, I take whatever the heck I want. That primo bedding spot that somebody else beat me to, no worries, it's mine. Mr. Big takes what the heck he wants in the deer world. He is the dominant buck. But there's a bunch of dominant bucks out there, okay? Just because I dominate this area of my home range doesn't mean I dominate this area over here, because over there, another more mature, more physically robust buck, his home range overlaps over in this area of my home range. That area, I gotta be subservient to him, or I'm gonna get my butt kicked. Same with those. You'll see when you're dealing with a really, really high deer density and low food production, you want to see a sickening feeding frenzy occur. I mean, you'll have does, your least dominant doe groups, popping out at noon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon to feed. Why? Because once the other doe groups start coming out, they're going to be driven off and they aren't going to have an opportunity to feed. Okay, so this dominance, it plays out over and over and over on our land. And for the individual deer, it changes from year to year, often from day to day, or even spot to spot within their home range. So, once we really, and then the last thing we need to understand in this stuff is that there's a cap on every property out there. That cap goes ahead and determines how many animals we can hold. We cannot stockpile bucks above a certain level from year to year to year, because we have new deer coming in, and what does that do? That almost always forces some deer to shift. Are they leaving their home range? No, they are not, but they're shifting to a different area within their home range. Okay, that right there is a huge part of why so many deer vanish. You know, we're sitting there trying, there's a bunch of different reasons, but we're sitting there trying, from a management standpoint, let's say, to pass this deer. We want to get ourselves a 3.5-year-old buck. We want to get ourselves a 4.5. Oh man, we want a 5.5. Whatever it is, you're passing that deer, and geez, I'm doing that year after year. A whole bunch of them are dying for a whole bunch of reasons, you know, but not all of them. Where are they going? Very, very, very often, that is actually dominance playing out. That 2.5-year-old buck wasn't dominant enough to go take that prime bedding spot over there on the neighbors away from that 3.5-year-old buck that's there. Well, that 3.5-year-old buck, he just got killed. Now there's a spot opened up over there. Now that 2.5-year-old, who happens to be the next dominant buck in the area, few things are as powerful of an attraction for a mature buck than primo buck bedding. Well, you can go take it now. So that's exactly what he does. He goes ahead and shifts. And you see that on so many properties out there, especially people that are trying to manage. What they end up doing is they are great at getting bucks to 2.5 years old. They're great at getting them to 3.5. Maybe it's 4.5, but that next jump, man, we just stink at that. We aren't getting hardly, very, very often, it's because of dominance. You don't have the very best of the very best of something he desperately wants on your property, so what is he doing? He's going to get it. The more we understand dominance, the more we understand how the more we understand virtually every and anything about whitetails, we understand so much more how all of this fits so neatly together. And once we understand how it all fits together, all of a sudden, our most powerful weapon comes into play, because now we can use our powers of analytical thought to see how we can minimize our weaknesses and maximize our strengths. Final thoughts, brought to you by Huntworth. Understanding every aspect of a whitetail's life is impossible. But the more we can understand, the more powerful our best weapon becomes. Understanding dominance is a big part of it. A dominant buck isn't dominant forever. As a matter of fact, very often they're dominant in this area, but they're not dominant in this area, their home range, because a more dominant buck is overlapping in that area. And it also does an awful lot to explain vanishing bucks. You know, over and over and over, people are passing up deer to get them to a certain age, and the year before, we got a glut of them. But the next year, where are they all? Many times, it's nothing more than dominance. There's something that neighboring property has that yours doesn't, that he desperately wants. As a 3.5-year-old, he's not man enough to go take it. Different area as a 4.5-year-old, he's not man enough to go take it. But he sure the heck is as a 5.5-year-old. And the dominant buck, the dominant doe group, they take what they want.